Hello, my name is Danny Nguyen. It is my honor to be here with our special guest, the Consul General of Indonesia, Mr. Basnur. As a matter of fact, I am honored to be invited to his farewell reception tonight, which will be held right here at the Consulate office of Indonesia on Richmond, Houston, Texas. The reception was at 6:30, but we came up with a very interesting idea for an interview. The reason for that is the Honorable Consul General Basnur. About 30 years ago, he used to be a journalist in Indonesia when the flood of Vietnamese refugee landed in Galan in Indonesia. And I really appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to talk with you. Would you please introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Danny, for this very kind, interview. I love to meet you. I love to meet, the media and talk to the media, especially to the Vietnamese American community here in Houston and surroundings. I am the Consul General of Indonesia. I landed here in Houston on September the 2nd, 2010, and I supposed to end up my tenure after 3 years. It means that in this year, 2013, on September the 2nd, right? And in fact, my boss at the beginning of last May called me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, Houston time. You can imagine it, because in Jakarta it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And you were sleeping.
I was sleeping, and the good thing is, not the good thing, always my handphone always on 24 hours and seven days a week.
Right.
So I was surprised, and then the boss called me up and then informed me to the new position. He appointed me as a new director for the Directorate of the Public Diplomacy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it means 3 months before, exactly 3 years, right?
Right.
And then the boss told me that you have to go back first to Jakarta to officially inaugurate it, and it was happened on the May the 10th,
Yes.
2 months ago, right?
Yes.
And after that, after the inauguration, the boss let me come here again to prepare all of the necessary thing and arrangements for doing the farewells with governments and friends of Indonesia, and like you too.
Yes.
Because you are one of my best friend here in Houston. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm going to do now and the next. Yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, time has gone by so quickly. I
Yeah.
met you a few years ago.
Yes.
We played golf together.
Yes,
And
yes.
then it led to friendship. And last year we led a delegation to Indonesia,
Yes.
Jakarta. And now that you are leaving,
Yeah.
but the good news is that I know that your mission has not ended yet.
Yes,
At the end, I want to
exactly.
introduce to our viewers what your new role is. But now I would like to ask you, even though you and I have met, and you call me Councilman Danny Nguyen as a Vietnamese American,
Yeah.
but when we had lunch and we had deep conversation,
Yes.
and I don't know why, but you shared with me that 30 years ago you
Yeah.
were a journalist
Yes.
covering a story about Vietnamese refugees.
Yes.
I'd like to hear more about that, if I may.
Well, can I call you Danny? Danny,
Yeah,
right?
Please do, yes.
All
sir.
right, Danny. This is a very long story. I have to talk about my struggling during my, not struggling actually, because when I was in the teenagers, and I love to do and trying something new in my life, and
Yes.
sometimes beyond of my duty as a student. What I mean is that studying in school, because normally the parents always asking the children, please reading and studying, please reading and studying. You go to school and then
Right.
back home, right, and then do a homework at night.
Right.
But in my case, because my parents taught me, please learn as many as possible you can do, right?
Yes.
And then make the story short, at the age of 16
Right.
years old, I was about here in the US about grade 10
Right.
or 11, and I was already appointed as a journalist of one of the provincial newspaper. so-called West Sumatra
Right.
province,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this province has the only 3 newspaper during the time, and one that the newspaper, the one that I work with, that is the biggest newspaper
Right.
in West Sumatra. And then I can say that, and not only me, many friends and also the senior journalists call me the youngest journalist in Indonesia.
Wow, wow.
So, with that, I at the beginning I always made the coverage, all the activities, or met with the news resources locally,
Yes.
like the mayor, like the chief of the district, and
Right.
sometimes people on the street, whatever the news resources, and I
Yes.
interviewed them. I talked to them and I took picture with them, right? After about 1 year and 1.5 years did that, I got bored, Why? How come that I only write the news in my home city, my hometown, while every day I read international news. I love reading international news. This is one of the legacy from my parents. My parents always talking about international affairs, international issues to me.
Right. So
Every
that's
day.
your deep passion, international.
Yeah, that's right.
Your inner calling.
In a college,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
right. And then, every time I read the newspaper, and I always, first I go to the front page headlines,
Yes.
and the second option, my favorite, was that the international page, right?
Yes.
And one day, I read about the refugees from our neighboring country, Vietnam,
Yes.
right? And then I follow the news carefully, and I follow the development, what was happening daily, and there are a lot of boat people coming into Indonesia, not only to Indonesia anyway, but also to other neighboring countries like
Yes.
Thailand and Malaysia, right?
Yes.
But I was very interested in the news, and I always follow the news of the influx of the our sister and brother from Vietnam to Indonesia.
Right.
And in Indonesia, we call it, there is a special island, so-called Galang Island,
Yes.
where our friends, refugees from Vietnam, located.
Yes.
And there were, I aware that the very few portions of the news about the refugees from Vietnam
Yeah.
coming to Indonesia, especially in Galang Island. And I think this is the time for me, that was a time for me to elaborate more about that. This is not only about the people, this is not
Right.
only about the refugees, but more than that, this is about the humanity,
I
right?
got you.
This is about the human life. And more than that, this is not only about the human life, but this is also about the relation
I
between Indonesia and Vietnam and many other countries in the world who gave the special attention toward the Vietnam, toward the refugees, right?
Right. So
And-
generally, what had been
Yes.
covered was the surface of the story.
That's
so
right.
you had a desire to cover
Yes,
at the
I had
depth, at the
desire.
core of the story.
Exactly,
I got
exactly.
you.
And then knowing that I was still studying at the senior high school, but every holidays,
Yes.
semesters, we had like here in America we call it the summer holidays,
Yes.
and also the Christmas holidays.
Yes.
In my case, I used that time to travel, to go to Galang Island, and then I came to the chief editors to
And
get
how,
the
I'm sorry,
permission.
how
Yes.
far is it from where you live?
Oh,
to
wow,
the
that's-
Galan. Galan is a very popular. We call it Đảo Galan.
Đảo Galan,
Đảo
yeah.
Galan is the Galan Island.
Yes.
That was the place. So how far is it from your place to
Danny,
the island?
This is a really, really not easy to reach that kind of the island. And you know what? I'm telling you the truth. And this is also to close friends. I always telling my secret story actually. I went to Galang Island without the directly permitted by my father and mother. You know what? At the beginning, the first time I asked my father and mother the permission
Yes.
that I'm going to that kind of the island. So my mother and father was shocked. Hey, come on, look at the map. What kind of the island you are going to visit? And
Dangerous.
you are still teenagers, 16, 17 years old. Dangerous.
Right, right.
No, no, ma'am. Yeah, my parent asked me, with whom? Me, myself. No, 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 no. Second time, I asked again permission from my parents.
Yeah.
Still, the answer was no. The third time was no. And then what I did, because I a little bit far away from my parents, the distance about 20 miles between my city where I study in Bukit Tinggi and my parents was in Payakumbuh, right? But I live in the apartment, a small apartment, right?
Right.
And then tonight I went to Galang Island by bus to the Riau province. Tonight, say that this evening, I depart by bus, and at noon, I sent a letter to my parents, informing them, Mom, Dad, allow me tonight. I'm going to go to what do you call it, the Galang Island. So it means that no rejection, but I was not escaped. I was not you call it. I informed him already.
What seemed to be the motivation? You must have a very strong
Yeah. Okay.
inside. I mean, what prompted you to do
Yes.
it? Like a journey in itself.
That's right. That's right. So okay, but back to the distance.
Yes.
The distance. It took me about 3 or 4 days to reach that island, because from my hometown, right, I have to stop over in Pekanbaru,
Yes.
the capital province of Riau.
Yes.
From Pekanbaru, I have to take the very small boat to Tanjung Pinang. That is Riau Islands, right?
Yes.
And from Tanjung Pinang, that is the capital city of the district.
Yes.
From there, I have to take about 4 or 5 hours to reach that kind of the island. So that is, so you can imagine about 4 days that I can
Journey.
come and journeys I can reach to that island. So what prompted me to go there? I know that because there are a lot of readers. My newspaper in West Sumatra province was not only read by the people in that kind of the province, but almost half of the Sumatra Islands, right? So I can say that Sumatra Island is the second largest island in Indonesia.
Right.
So what I want to write is that the situations,
Right.
the real facts and experiences by our friends, Vietnamese, being located, sheltered in that
Right.
kind of the island.
Right.
So I want to inform it to our Indonesian brothers and sisters.
Right.
You have to know about this is happen now, really happen now in this island, because most of the time the news printed on the newspaper in Indonesia mostly based on the news wrote by the Reuters, AP, FP, and international news agencies,
Then they
right?
translated it.
Translated it into
actual-
Indonesian
yeah,
language,
that's
right? But almost none Indonesian journalists come to
Wow.
visit that island. So I think this is a time for me to see the real situation on that island based on the Indonesian eyes, based on the Indonesian feeling
Yes, yes.
and the way of thinking, right? And sometimes the Western journalists just
Different
wrote
perception,
different
yes.
perception about
Yes,
the refugees. But Vietnamese, Asian, we are in the same continent. We are the brother. Our skin is same. Our hair was the same. So maybe that was what prompted me to visit that island and wrote a lot of news from that island.
Well, I
Yes.
am so glad. It seems to me that you have a lot of courage, at least the courage to follow your passion. And,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
seemed to me that you found your destiny with your
Yes,
journalism.
yes,
True journalists
Mhm.
do want to call a story
Mhm.
at the deep level, so people appreciate it. Let me ask you about when you arrived to the camp, what was your first experience compared to what you had anticipated? What did you see?
I saw many elders, teenagers, mothers, fathers, and babies, playing around in front of the tent,
Yeah.
and they play on the ground with the very minimal clothes, dresses, and I was accompanied by the staff of the public relations of the office of the sub-district there.
Yeah.
And I was accompanied because being a journalist, they want me
Security,
to
yes.
for the security whatever, but they accompany me, and then it was really touched me, and as brothers and sisters, I really want to help them. But I was still young during that period, right? But at least I can help them. I can, contribute to ease their pain, their sorrow, through the news that I wrote on the newspaper, right? Meaning that I only can help our friends, sisters, and brothers, Vietnamese who sheltered there through my pen, through my writings. Meaning that when I wrote that newspaper, the news on the newspaper, it means that I did believe that this is be read by the many people in Indonesia, and then through that they will be know very well about this kind of the situation, about the humanity.
Yes.
That's the only way that I can help.
Right. I'm sincerely, I'm deeply touched. It sounds like you're trying to be the voice of the people who could not speak for themselves. At least you bring the story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You may not remember exactly, but what was the estimate total population of the camp at that time?
I think about 1,500.
1,000?
Yeah, 1,500, more or less like that. It was not only in Galang Island. I remember that there are a number of small islands surroundings.
Okay.
Yeah,
but that is the main.
There is a main.
Yes,
there is a main island. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And also I remember that there was some friends from the Vietnamese as refugees sheltered in we call it Pulau Tujuh. In English we call it Tujuh means 7, Pulau means island.
Yeah.
So it means the 7 islands next, very near to Natuna.
Right.
Natuna Islands, and this is exactly next to the border between our two countries, Indonesia and Vietnam. So I cannot go there because very far, I think if I take a boat, it will take about 7 days to be there because very near to the border of our countries, Vietnam and Indonesia. So there are many other islands, And one thing that I'll also inform you that when I take the boat from one of the city to that island, that the sea level from the boat only about this high, and only this one.
Really?
Is it really? Yes. And then I was there. I was on the boat.
Yeah.
So this is really amazing. And then, but during that
what
year
was that? What exact year was that? Is that 84, 85?
Oh, okay.
When you were there?
Oh wow! It was 78, 79. 78, 79.
Wow.
Yes, I precisely remember that because I finished my senior high school at 80. So 78, 79, 77, 78, 79, yes. A long, very long story.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is, I love adventure,
Right.
a lot of it, and then I make a lot of friends, actually, from, I visited the island, Galang Island.
Yeah.
I get in touch and I interviewed our friends, sisters and brothers from Vietnam, and I got the name for my resources, right, for the news, right? And then I lost it now, anyway. But
hopefully this broadcast will reconnect with you.
Yes.
Especially when
Oh,
with
wow.
the social media. Maybe they find you on Facebook, Mr. Basnur.
Yeah.
I thought that would be interesting.
I have a very, very, very interesting story to tell you,
yes,
and
please.
also the audience of this
Yes,
television.
please.
It was 78, 79, right?
Yes.
Yes, in 1978, 79, I visited Galang Island,
Yes.
and I met and I create a lot of friends, Vietnamese who were Vietnamese, right? In 1984,
Yeah.
I joined with the Indonesia-Canada Youth Exchange Program.
Okay.
It took about 10 months, and then
What was that program about?
that is about the youth exchange program, Indonesia-Canada Youth Exchange Program, right?
Right.
And then I participated with that program. That was a very strict selection to be a member of that delegation.
Right.
But I was passed, and then thanks God. And then I went to Vancouver, Canada. So I stayed there
Yes.
in Vancouver, and then I moved to so-called in the island so-called Vancouver Island.
Yes.
And there is a small city there so-called Campbell River. The city which is only about 15,000 population. And I live with the foster parents, with the Canadian parents. And I did a lot of voluntarily working at the many places there.
Yes.
And then I met with one of the Asian skin, Asian hair, which was prompted me to get to know each other, right? And then, we met that in the Northern Ireland College because we studied English there. So he also took an English lesson in that North Island College,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then we were in the same class, right? Oh, this is an Asian man. I have to get in touch with him. Hi. Oh, okay. So we get to know. His name is Cam. I still remember that. CAM.
Okay.
But I lost
Yes,
his
that's
address.
name, yes.
But I do believe that he's still there in Canada.
Yeah.
And then we were to become a very close friend. And he told me that he was also in Galang Island. But I
At that
didn't
time.
aware that during my visit there.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't tell you about this one during
No,
our
you did
lunch,
not.
right?
This is new.
This is I just came up in my mind automatically just now,
Yes, yes.
And then we were to become a very close friend. And you know what? He was also excited to meet me as an Asian, guy, right? Young
Asian
people.
guy in a foreign land.
Yes, that's right. And I was very surprised. You know what?
Yes.
He worked at the supermarket. I forgot the name of the supermarket. But one thing that I always remember until now is that I always hang out with him, with so-called Toyota Celica. Can you imagine it? The Vietnamese refugees, my friend,
Right.
moved to Canada, and then he can buy the Toyota Celica. So he's a single, and then we always hang out. So you can imagine that how close am I with the friends of the people. Friends from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I remember that one. Yes, Danny, I remember now.
But I think deep down is the reconnection. It's just
That's
the
right.
reconnections
Yes,
of
yes.
the two stories.
Yes.
Let me take you back a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
So after the story of your story coverage, what kind of reaction had you received from the government, from the people overall?
Oh yes.
Was it nationally published or?
All right. Because that newspaper like also practices practiced by many other newspaper.
Yes.
That my story was not published on my newspaper,
Right.
but also quoted by many other national and regional newspaper. I said, for example, from the North Sumatra Island, I saw that there was a so-called newspaper Mercusuar, like a lighthouse.
Yeah,
That it means Mercusuar means a lighthouse in English.
Yes.
So I saw many articles, mine printed in many other local and national newspaper in Indonesia. You know what?
But that is so interesting
Very
because
interesting.
you were a young
Very young.
journalist.
Yes, yes.
And not as famous as you are now. But I mean,
No.
the fact that the story was called
Yes.
national, you think
Yes.
because of the story?
Yeah, because of the story, yes. And the chief editors credited me, right? And then my teacher in the school and my friends, being a journalist, being someone who wrote the article and printed it on the newspaper,
Yes.
I think you are not thinking about the royalty that you are going to get, but you are thinking about how many people, who is reading my article. Maybe people next to you read your article.
Yes. Yes.
You must be, very happy to see that.
Yes, yes.
That's why I also felt the same. Yeah,
I could understand.
very good.
that.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
That's what I love. Doing my job during
Right.
my teenagers.
Thank you. And what seemed to be the transition from a journalist to
Oh, wow.
become a diplomat,
Oh,
a
yes.
consul general,
Yes,
representing the
yes,
country in
yes.
Houston?
That's very good.
Yes.
Actually, many friends, advise me
Yes.
to take the journalistic, study at journalistic, university or faculty, right?
Yes.
But many times, the editors, my senior journalists,
Yeah.
advise me, no need to take. You don't go to the faculty of journalism or the school of journalism.
Yeah.
Why? He told me that. The reason was that because you are already there. You are already doing the journalistics very well.
Okay, why you have to go back to school
Why you
to
have
learn
go
what
to
you're doing
school
right
there?
now? That makes
Maybe
sense.
you can teach
Right.
people there, the student there, they say.
Right, that
Why
makes
don't you
sense.
take something else which will enrich your knowledge
Wow.
and then will support your ability in writing? This is a very,
Great
very,
advice.
very wisdom and good advice.
So
from
was that
my-
like an aha moment to you?
Yeah,
like
that's
the
right.
turning point
That's
of
right, that's right.
enlightenment? Wow.
Yes. And later on, oh yes. And then I took the, I studied at the Faculty of Law,
Yes.
Andalas University in West Sumatra.
Yes.
And during that time, there are some division like in the faculty,
Yeah.
and I took the international law, which was during that time only 3 students took that, the division.
You're talking about in the whole nation.
The whole nation, international law. That is university, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like-
Only 3 students in that kind of the international law division.
Wow.
And then I decided I'll go there. Some friends, how can you decided to go there? No, because I love to learn international issues.
Wow.
I love to learn international development and
Right.
the progress.
Right.
And luckily, because of that, my English was not so good, right? But because people told me that many people assume that those who are taking the international law has to speak English very well. In my region,
Yeah.
in my village,
It's a normal
because-
expectation, yeah.
No, yeah, that's normal expectation, right?
Yeah.
And then I took that, international law, and luckily, 2 years before my graduation, I had a chance to go to Canada. The one that the program I
Yeah,
mentioned to
yeah,
you earlier,
yeah.
Indonesia, Canada Youth Exchange Program.
Yes.
Through that, I can develop, I can increase my ability to. I learn a lot English, and then once I come back to the campus, my English very much different after 10 years taking program in the
Yeah.
youth exchange program,
Right.
and I keep working as a journalist when I was studying at the university,
Right.
right? And after that, when I graduated, my president of university and the dean of my faculty asked me, because I was the best graduates during that period, thanks God. And then they asked me, hey Al, they just call me Al,
Yes.
if you like to work here as a lecturer in this faculty,
Yes.
we are more than happy to welcome you. Please
Right.
work for me, work for us.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And then I say yes, because of what? I can also do the journalism outside of the, outside of the campus,
Yeah.
right? And then I already accepted officially.
Yes.
But at the same time, there was a circulation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that they need the new fresh blood diplomat, the candidates of diplomat from the universities all over Indonesia. And my president of university called me up. Hey Al, this is something new that I got from Jakarta, capital city. Yes sir. What should I do? No. You take this apart, you take this examination,
Right.
and then if you pass, you go to Jakarta. If not, you remain, working here as a lecturer. Sir, you already asked me to work here and then you already accepted me. No. Because you better go to Jakarta as a diplomat, because not so many alumni in our universities to become a diplomat in Indonesia, they said.
Right.
Well, Mr. President, I will do that. I'm not really, just so and so, I took that examination. And thanks God, I passed. And then once I passed, I said, hey, you go now to Jakarta, to capital city. I don't want to see you here anymore in the campus. The president and the dean told me.
Sound like promotion to me.
That's right.
Wow.
And then I moved to Jakarta. And I started a new life as a diplomat, Yeah.
It sounds like your story is the very typical saying that when preparation meet opportunity. Like you've been preparing all your life, and then the moment the opportunity came, and then you seized the moment, and then,
Yes,
and then that's
yes,
what the turning
yes,
point.
yes.
But very quickly, so what would be your advice to young people who want to get into the government? Diplomat is a very rare career.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think a lot of younger generations or young people have the privilege to sit in front of the consul general. So what would be your advice to people who want to go into the diplomat
Well,
career?
first, you have to love reading
Okay.
and watching. Of course, now during my period, I forgot to tell you, when I was still at the senior high school, I have no TV, no TV set, no TV station in my city.
Right.
I didn't see the TV. I watched TV when I was studying at university, at the age of I think about 20. That was the time that I watched TV.
Right.
Not mine. That's not the TV was not mine, but the owner of the apartment. What do you call it? The foster parent.
Yeah,
in
and the
city.
whole village come to watch.
All village came to watch.
That sounds very familiar.
This one, the
That sound
TV,
very
blah blah
familiar,
blah.
yes.
Yes, I was not.
Yes.
And then they have to love reading, and they have to love to watch the news,
Right.
international news, right? And they have to talk a lot. They have to talk a lot, and listen a lot as well.
Right.
Listen a lot, because if you don't listen, you will not get something new in your mind.
Talking about diplomat, the people skills,
Yes.
and how does it feel to represent the whole country? Representing a big company is a privilege for people.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the whole country. You are the country. You know that you are very fortunate to be situated in a very prominent location. Every time that people pass
Yes,
by and we
yes.
see the consulate office of Indonesia, but
Yes.
never had an opportunity to see you. How
Yes.
does it feel to represent the country?
Well,
and how did you like it so far?
I feel I have a lot of responsibility, right? All the job and responsibility, I put it here, right?
Yes.
As a consul general, I have to represent my country. I have to, to connect my country as many as possible with outside world.
Yes.
Not only here in Houston, but also some other city
Right.
in Texas and many other states in the
Right.
southern part of America. And that's good. Now, being the representative of the government, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends.
Fit your personality.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
right.
thank you for,
Like you do,
for the
and,
friendship.
you know,
Yes, sir.
I love making friends. I love create better and closer relationship with friends,
Yes.
not only with the government officials,
Yes.
but also with the business people, but
Right.
also the individuals, the professional, other professional, and even with the man on the street.
Right.
When you go to the restaurant, you know what? If I go to the restaurant, most of the time I didn't ask what is menu, a special menu for today. Please give menu or something like that. I didn't do that, but I did make acquaintance with the
Right.
waiters.
Right. Right.
Hi, how are you?
I
How
saw
are you?
that. I
Yeah,
saw
you
that.
saw that.
I remember when we were in Indonesia,
Oh.
and then we came out for dinner.
Yes,
The
yes.
first thing that you came to the restaurant, it was you greeted that waitress.
That's right.
I saw that. Wow.
That's the nature in my, in
Yeah.
my body,
Yeah,
in my characters.
Wow.
And then, hey, I come from Indonesia. Do you know Indonesia?
Yeah.
Oh well, sometimes. Oh yes, I hear about that. But some of them told me that. Oh yes, I was just visited Bali, for the holiday and so on and so on. And some thought that, well, maybe I heard sometimes. Okay, come on, I show you, and then I open up my iPad or my
And show them
telephone,
Yes.
and then I open up they call it the map,
Yes.
and then I saw that.
Yeah.
Very short course, right?
Yes.
So this is,
Yeah.
and again, I really love to represent my country here,
Yeah.
making friends, and I feel I'm lucky here not only because of Houston and Texas is a good place to live in, but also people around here is very warm, very friendly, very comfortable
Yes.
with and also not only. As I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of friends, Vietnamese. How do you call it? American Vietnamese. What they call it?
You have all kind of friends.
People from originally come from Vietnam. That's what I mean.
Yes.
And then I have a lot of friends from the all side of works
Right.
from Vietnam here.
Right.
And then until now, just yesterday, I love Vietnamese food. I love Vietnamese food. I love food. And every week, at least 2 times, I went to the Vietnamese, restaurant here in Houston. I'm going to miss it. And I already checked in Jakarta. There are about 2 Vietnamese restaurants in Jakarta.
Wow.
So which I can come and enjoy the Vietnamese food in Jakarta after when I move transfer to Jakarta.
That's great. Before I move to the next couple remaining topics,
Yeah.
I have to really commend you, if you allow me. I think you have done an outstanding job of representing your country.
Thank
Let
you.
me tell you why. Not just saying that. The fact that you came and you mobilized, and the result of that was a delegation
Mhm.
went to Indonesia,
Yeah.
Jakarta, with 40 U.S. company. I thought
Yeah.
that was a great effort on your part.
Thank you.
And I
Yes.
also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Jeff Mosley, the
Thank you.
CEO of the Greater Houston
Yes.
Partnership,
Yes.
who helped us to coordinate the trip.
And also, I was very enjoy to accompany you.
We had a
during
great
the
time,
travel.
didn't we?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
And hopefully you come to visit Indonesia again
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
many other kind of the businesses that we can
Yes,
do.
sir.
Yeah.
Now that you just shared with me earlier,
Yeah.
you said your new title will be the Directors of Diplomacy.
Yeah.
So your mission will be promoting Indonesia.
Yes.
So what would you like to tell the audience, mostly Vietnamese,
Mhm.
which I had anticipated? What do you want to tell them? Are you going to invite them to visit Indonesia?
Oh yes, yes. First, this is the kind of the job that I love
Yes.
to do that, And as a director for the public diplomacy, I have to get in touch with as many as possible people around the world, not only within the country,
Yes.
in Indonesia, but also in many other countries.
Right.
And I believe, and for sure, that I'll visit Vietnam, and maybe, hopefully, I'll visit Houston again, right? And then we are going to create many kind of cooperation between one institution to
Right.
another,
Right.
similarly institution,
Right.
from one government official institution with the other government. We call it in short G2G, B2B, government to government,
Yes, yes.
business to business cooperation,
Yes.
and also the people to people cooperation,
Right, right.
Because in the people to people cooperation or diplomacy, sometimes, most of the time, played a very important role
Yeah.
to connect one country to other country
Right.
stronger and better. So I hope our friends, Vietnamese, wherever they are living now in foreign countries, can come to visit Indonesia again, especially to visit the island.
Yes.
Especially if those who are living
Yeah.
in that kind of the
Yes.
island, they can come to see the island where they
Yes,
were,
yes.
spend the time, maybe childhood, maybe
Yes,
the
yeah.
teenagers, they spend there. And then me, myself, I'm really open, I'm really happy to help our friend here, Vietnamese in Houston. Please contact me, please let me know what can I do for the best of our friends,
Right.
Vietnamese American here in Houston.
Right, right. Thank you so much for the offer. I thought this would be a very different experience,
Yeah.
being a refugee camp, in the camp,
Yeah.
but now going back as an Vietnamese American.
Yeah.
I think the status will be so different. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I love the people, I love the city, and I love the experience. Yes. Yeah. And I understand that you have the Chamber of Commerce for Indonesia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would you very quickly tell us what this is about and how do people get involved in that?
Okay.
What is the mission?
This is something new,
Yes.
right? It was came up in my mind, and it was my idea
Yes.
because I saw that there are many Indonesian business people here in Houston and Texas, and also in many other states in the U.S.
Right.
But particularly here, I saw that there are very good potential of the Indonesian business people to get together among them,
Right.
and also to contact with many other business people, not only American
Yes.
origin,
Yes.
but also people from many other countries like Vietnam, like Korea, China, Japan, and so on and so on. And in the past, I didn't see any kind of the organizations similar with the
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce
Yes.
like that one, And then I talked with a number of Indonesian business people here in Houston, and then we came to the conclusion that to establish the Indonesian American Chambers of Commerce in Texas, chaired by Mr. Ben Benjamin
Yes.
Benjamin
Right.
Rashad. Yes.
Right.
So now the chambers, keep expand their networking,
Yes.
and then I think there were already 2 or 3 times the events held here in
that's
this
great.
in
Yes.
this office. The chambers was officially launched in last January, still new,
Right.
last January,
Right.
and attended by many Indonesian business people.
Yes. I
And
remember
then
that.
yeah, you were there, right? And then
Yes.
I introduced that kind of the chamber with many other
Yes.
business community here in Houston.
Right.
And I hope, and I already talked to the board of directors of the chambers, and they are very active, and I am very optimistic that the cooperation, especially in economy and trade and investment,
Yes.
will be much better
That's
comparing to in the past, because they have the organization already.
Right.
They have the wheels already to
Yes.
moving forward.
Yes, and focus on economic development.
Focus on
which
economic
is-
development.
which is
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Mr. Basnur, I know that you're about to get ready for your farewell reception, and people are waiting for you downstairs. But I have always wanted to tell you this: I do not have the official representation of the Vietnamese community, but as the Vietnamese, I have always wanted to tell you, the government of Indonesia, that we, the Vietnamese, we are very grateful for all the things that you have done for us during those adversity. I mean, you opened your arms. I mean, the time that we were on that island, I mean, that was a very critical point, and I don't know if it had been done before. I think it's way long overdue, but if I had that authority, I would say thank you, and thank you so much for that.
Well,
Yes, I appreciate you.
I really appreciate it, Danny. Actually, it was our duty and our task, not only because of the humanity, but
Yes, sir.
as a neighboring country, right? As a neighboring country,
Yeah.
it was our task, and then it is our obligation to do so. So, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, and the last request I'd like to make is that, during the times, a few decades of staying in refugee camps, of course we have people who die on that.
Mm.
So one of the requests that I've heard from the elderly was that would the government will preserve that grave of the Vietnamese refugees. If that would be honored. I'm pretty sure that Indonesia is a country that have a very respect for the death
Yes.
and the religions.
Yes.
So many of them want to go back and visit the camp, but
Yes.
also want to visit the grave site too.
Yes. Well, Danny, I believe that not only the government,
Yes.
but also the community in the islands and the surroundings will very much welcome
Yes.
if our friends, Vietnamese who living now overseas,
Yeah.
would like to come and visit the grave, visit the places where they were,
Yes.
and then please come and welcome to Indonesia anytime, anytime, any day, any month, whatever you want. And we are going to open our hand to welcome you back for the short visit, of course, right? And then surely just let me know. Please let me know if there are some plan from our friends Vietnamese overseas, especially here in the Texas. And I myself personally will support and will find a way to materialize all kind of the visit.
Great. Again, thank you so much for your kindness, especially giving me the time for this special interview.
Thank you,
so
Mr. Danny.
much.
I really appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Hope you join us in down there.
Yes, yes, I will.
Thank you.